Hello YouTube, my name is Alice and these are the Nightbird Vlogs. So, today I kind of wanted to address a few things that I see a lot of and I think should stop in we'll call it the New Age community. First and foremost is, it's not even in necessarily the New Age community, but people saying X is my spirit animal. No, it's not. You can absolutely like a certain animal, you can absolutely like a certain character, but that does not make them your spirit animal. This goes back to mostly, in my experience anyway, the Native American community, basically, where in order to acquire a spirit animal, there is a long process of getting to know that spirit and letting that spirit get to know you. And then at that point, if you both decide it is a good match, then they can address you as being basically chosen to allow them, how to put this, they can basically make it clear that they have chosen you to allow you to have them as your spirit animal. Words are hard. Shut up. So like, when you say, oh, Deadpool's my spirit animal. No, he's not. That is a fictional character that you cannot form a relationship with because they're a fictional character. Oh, horses are my spirit animal. Have you done the work? Are they actually your spirit animal, or are you saying that they are your spirit animal because you think they're really pretty? These are the determining factors here. Like, I can't, by rules, basically discuss my spirit animals, but I do have them. That is a relationship that you have to build. That is not something that you just wake up one day and decide, hey, cats are my spirit animal. No, it doesn't work that way. This is something you have to go through certain rites in order to acquire, basically. And I hate using that word, to acquire, because they don't belong to you. You know, if anything, it's closer to you belonging to them. It's kind of a mentorship program, if you will. But it's just something that people say all the time, people bring up all the time, and you're not doing it right. It just bothers me because I know how to do it right. And people to say these things cheapens it. It's almost like it really takes away something from what it actually means. It's, if you're in the New Age community, it's kind of like adopting a matron or a patron. For sure, you can like a certain deity, but if the deity doesn't want to work with you, it's not going to work. It's the same thing with the spirit animal. You can like, I don't know, owls all you want, but if the owl spirit does not like you, it's not going to work. There's not actually going to be a relationship there. There's not going to actually be interaction there. It doesn't work that way. Well, that's one of my soapboxes for today. Another, and maybe it's just me that I'm just not understanding, is there, I mean, maybe there's just some nuance that I'm not picking up on, but, and I know I'm probably going to piss people off by this, but I'm going to come out and say it. Christian witches. First off, how often in the Bible does it say that you cannot do any form of magic or divination without being in league with darker forces, we'll say? How often does it specifically forbid doing either of those things? And what do you do as a witch? Those two things. I don't get how people are able to make this work. It really is an either or thing in my mind. You can be a witch, and be of most religions, even, but you can't really be a Christian witch, in my opinion, because that religion specifically forbids you from being a witch or having anything to do with witches. It says it straight up. Which, I mean, I've read the Bible cover to cover, which is more than I can say for a lot of Christians that have read the Bible. You pick passages, you listen to what the preacher or whatever says on Sundays, but do you actually read the Bible cover to cover? Cover to cover. I know it's a lot of reading. I know it's a lot of these and thys. But if you're going to follow the religion, know what you're talking about. Know exactly where you are in the grand scheme of things. I mean, there's so many people that have this blind faith that if it works for them, sure, go on, do whatever you're going to do. But at the same time, why wouldn't you want to know more? And then you have Bible study classes, and I actually support Bible study classes because, yes, you're actually learning what's in the Bible and how to apply that in real life. I'm about that. I have nothing really against Christians. I have nothing against... Well, I have a little bit of something against Christian witches just because of... it's like saying, to me anyway, I'm a Buddhist Muslim. What? That's not how that works. Sorry, my nose is really itchy today. I don't know what's going on. But I hope that makes sense. I hope that I'm not just coming off as a rambling idiot here. And I hope that people are able to understand this. Because, again, sure, maybe you can make it work. Maybe you know something that I don't. Maybe there's some nuance, like I said, that I'm not picking up on. But it doesn't make sense to me. And then we come to my next beef, I guess you could say. I could go a few ways with this. But we'll start off with fluffy bunnies, aka love and lighters. Again, that's not quite how that works. Every candle casts a shadow. If you are a candle, you too cast a shadow. Whether you want to acknowledge that shadow or not, it's still there. And you won't really be a complete person or a complete practitioner until you at least acknowledge the shadow. Me, I've done work with both sides of myself, the light and the dark, because everyone has light and dark. You're not just all light. No one is. It's not possible. You will still have that, not even evil, just dark. Not pastel thoughts, basically. There are parts of every human being that are not pastels. They're not fluffy bunnies. There's a grittiness there. No matter how nice of a person you are, no matter how, I guess, illuminated you are, there's still going to be grittiness somewhere. There's still going to be something that generally society says is not okay. There's still going to be something there that is, by some definitions, ugly. I'm not saying go to the dark side or come to the dark side, we have cookies. No, I'm not saying that. I am saying that you would need to at least acknowledge that it exists. If you can embrace it, do. Because you will be a much more well-rounded person if you do. Acknowledge the dark. Don't let it control you. And that's the trick. This goes the same with the light, really. Acknowledge it, but don't let it control you. You are your own person, you're in the middle ground. You've got light, you've got dark. But you're in the middle, and you're a little bit of both. And you need to acknowledge that, you need to accept that, you need to embrace that if you can. Which also, on the dark side of things, does bring me to my next issue. next thing that bothers me, I should say. I mean, I got plenty of issues too, but that's not what I'm talking about here today. Love spells. Oh, love spells. I see so many times in pagan groups and Wiccan groups and whatever kind of group where there are people asking for help with love spells. And there's a fine line here. Because are you trying to make yourself more lovable? Are you trying to attract someone who is compatible with you? If so, good on you. That's the way to go. If you're trying to make someone love you, oh, so you're okay with slavery, because that's what you're talking about doing. You're talking about enslaving someone's will to yours. And yes, these things do work, but there are consequences for these actions. It's a bit of an extreme example, but it's a movie as well. But The Craft was a decent representation of that. Like, at what point does love become obsession when it is no longer that person's will that is controlling it? These are things to think about. Like, if you're genuinely okay with literally slaving someone's will to your own, making them love you, not just making yourself more lovable to them, or even more lovable in general, that can be a very serious moral issue, which basically is slavery. It's slavery of the mind, it's slavery of the soul, and are you actually okay with that? If you are, that says something, one, but two, if you're actually okay with that, sure, there will be consequences, but sure, you do you, boo-boo. But typically speaking, anything that controls someone else is to be avoided. If you're trying to control yourself, improve yourself, change something about you that you don't really like, have at it. That's exactly what things are for. That's exactly what these things are here for. To better yourself. Not enslave people. It's to help you better yourself, or to make a change, hopefully positively, in the world around you. That's what magic is. That's what magic is. So, I feel like I've gone on here for a little while. Not sure really what else. Actually I do. Tools. And I don't mean people. Although I could write, or not even write, just produce a video that goes on for hours about people as tools. Not quite what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about, like, an athame, a wand, a bowl, a bell, things like this. At the end of the day, they're good when you're new. When you're just starting out, when you haven't built up. Because energy work in general, and magic especially, is a muscle. The more you use it, the more you do it, the stronger you're going to get. So, tools do serve a completely valid purpose when you're just starting out. Even, for a few years after. Absolutely. They do absolutely serve a purpose during that formative time. But there comes a time when you don't actually need them. Because really they're props. That's all they really are. They're very special props. They're very spiritual props. But they're there for psychodrama. You don't actually need any of them. Not one tool that is on your altar do you actually need. They help. They absolutely help. Especially, like I said, when you're first starting out. But after a while, you won't really need them anymore. I found that I don't generally even need to use salt or water or even incense, or even form a circle. I don't need that anymore. It's still a prop. It's still a thing that is there for basically a psychodrama, to get your mind in a place where it is allowed to be itself, where it's allowed to imagine things, where it's allowed to let these energies flow, basically. If there's no more blockage, if there's nothing more stopping you from just letting the energy flow naturally, you don't need it. You don't need anything. All you need is yourself and a fairly quiet space, and that's it. That's it. So, again, this is the experience of 20 some odd years of being down this path, talking today. I thought it important to get out there into the ether, as it were. That is YouTube. I know there's probably a plethora of other videos that cover these same topics, but I don't know. I haven't really dug too much. I don't see a whole lot of need for me to dig a whole lot into this side of YouTube. But these are just things that I think people need to be aware of. And I hope that you're watching this and already on this path or considering this path, that you've taken what I said into heart. That you'll at least consider what I've talked about today. Regardless, yeah, I don't think I have anything else for now. So, once again, YouTube, peace, love, and keep being awesome.